G'day, mate. What's your name?
Hey, man. Hey, Andrew, I'm Ray Badran.
Ray Badran. What do you do, Ray?
I'm a stand-up comedian, writer, bit of other stuff, yeah.
Hello, welcome back to another episode of Crowdworkcast. My name's Andrew Barnett. Thanks so much for joining me. This was such a fun chat today with my guest, Ray Badran. I don't get to catch up with Ray as much as I'd like nowadays because Ray is an Australian comedian who is now full-time in London. And so when he's back in Australia, it is always great to catch up with him. He's hilarious and just good company. Basically, he's an absolute champion. So, thoroughly enjoyed this chat. You're going to enjoy it too. Now, if you are hearing this in the first few days after it dropped, that means you still have a chance, if you're in Sydney, to go see Ray's Sydney Comedy Festival show. It's on from the 8th to the 12th of May at the Factory Theatre. It's called If This Show Sells Out, I'll Do the Last 10 Minutes Doing a Handstand. So, that'll give you an idea of his sense of humour and the kind of bloke he is. An absolute champion. I cannot recommend his stand-up highly enough. If you are in London, he hosts most Thursdays at the Moth Club. So go see him there, and he's a regular on the circuit over there. So give him a follow. He's at Ray Badran on Instagram, and you can usually find out where he is and what he's up to there, or go to his website, raybadran.com. If you're enjoying the podcast, please do like, subscribe, leave us a review. That'd be handy. And if you're not already, please do give me a follow on social media. I'm at Andrew Barnett Comedy on Instagram, Facebook, and TikTok. Other than that, don't have too much to plug this week. So let's just rip in and enjoy this episode with the great Ray Badran.
Very few people will just go, no, I'm just a stand-up.
Especially now, it's everything, and you're using social media and doing everything. But mainly stand-up, a little bit of writing, a little bit of acting, a little bit of corporate or other stuff like that.
Yeah, nice.
That'd be most of my earnings.
So you and I met through stand-up, and before we go any further, your show, as this drops, I think starts... This will drop on...
Wednesday morning?
Wednesday morning?
It'll be Wednesday night. Yeah, Wednesday night to Sunday night at the Factory Theatre in Sydney.
Now, what is the show called?
It's called If This Show Sells Out, I'll Perform the Last 10 Minutes Doing a Handstand. But the thing about that title was, you know how and this is, I've got the email receipt, so I might start the show with this. But you know how you just have to, I'm so disorganised, but with a lot of these things, you just have to submit their stuff, and you've got a month or so to change it before,
yes.
Just so you can get something on sale, and it's we'll just get it before the deadline hits. So they were get us something today. So I just filled out the form. And I thought that would be quite funny because we're talking about handstands or something like that. And so I put that in there. Then I emailed them the real show title and the real blurb, and I just got a reply saying, sorry, it's already gone to print. So, yeah.
So what would have the real show title been?
Oh, well, the show's called... I'm doing this, I'm working up a show for Edinburgh, and the show in Edinburgh is called Welcome to Raytown, because there's a town in America called Raytown, and someone sent me this picture of that, and it has a big sign out the front that says Welcome to Raytown, and so I just sort of call it that.
Nice. So is that an ironclad promise though? If it sells out, can you do how long do you reckon you could do?
I reckon I could probably do a minute, but I don't know. With training, I reckon it's one of them things that once you can pass 15 seconds, you can it's concentration then, it's maybe juggling or something like that. Once you can do 3 or 4, you just, you're in it then, and then, arm strength and sort of blood rushing to your head would be the problems, I'd say. But I reckon I could do, I haven't done one for a long time, but I reckon I could probably do one for a couple of minutes, yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
A couple of minutes. That's impressive. You're one of when you said just then, like you go, yeah, I thought of that because we were talking about handstands.
Yeah.
You're one of the few people that doesn't, like, if most people in my life had said to me, yeah, because we were talking about handstands, I'd be like, what? Why were you talking about handstands? But you're one of the people I'm like, yeah, okay, I can see that.
You can see me doing a handstand. Oh, it's an annoying skill to have, you know, because you have to tell people about it. You can't, it never comes up, you know.
It doesn't come out organically.
No, there's never a situation. No one's ever like dropped their keys under the couch and they're like, can someone look underneath the couch without crouching down or something like that?
Yeah, there's very few, like points. Like I don't think I've ever seen a movie where, like, you know, to get past this last bit.
It's completely unnecessary, you know. Yeah, I don't know how it ever come up.
Has that come out of your yoga?
No, I can't do a yoga handstand. Where it's actually come out of, when I was like in PE, when I was like 6 years old or 7 years old, the teacher was just teaching us. We just had like an aerobics class or something like that. And I was a pretty sporty kid, pretty like flexible and just loved to jump around. And then they were like, this is how you do a handstand. And I just could do it, like straight away. Almost could do it. I'd just do it and then fall over. And just do it and fall over. And when you're a kid, it doesn't hurt when you fall over and that. Then like after about the 5th or 6th turn, I could just do it. And then, so I could just do it from 6 years old on. So
what a great...
It's one of them skills if you learn how to do it. Like, you know, it's just one of them things when you, like anything, if you learn something young, you know, it just sticks with you.
Yeah.
And I'm not actually exceptionally strong either. I think what it is something you do something about locking your shoulders in or something like that I'm not really, I sort of do unconsciously, like, because it's not like I'm...
It strikes me as a core thing as well, like...
Surely. It's core to get up, but I get up like in a circuit, like I sort of flip my way up. If you do a yoga one, it's quite core because you're like slowly getting up like that. Yeah. But yeah, that's like, you know, that's like kind of doing a reverse sit up or something, like a reverse front or leg raise or something. But yeah, I can't explain it. I can't explain how I can keep the balance either. I just can't. I don't know how, you know, like I don't know how.
Just a gift. But it is on your, I noticed too today, when I was looking up to make sure I got all the plugs right.
Yeah.
For your intro, I noticed it is the last line of your Instagram bio as well.
Yeah, well, I just sort of realised at one point that, like, I actually think I've never really met anyone that can do a better handstand than me. One. And so, like, this is something that sets me out from the back. And then so I'm like, yeah, it is quite impressive, you know? Like, you don't expect me... Well, when you say, yeah, I can see it, you know, maybe you know my personality a bit more, you can judge it, but... Yeah.
Oh, to the average person who met you in the first 5 minutes.
Yeah.
It's not something they'd necessarily assume.
Nah.
So you grew up at Wollongong?
Yeah.
Is that where you learnt to handstand?
That's where the best handstanders come from. When I went to uni, what do you reckon about water from a mug?
Yeah, I know.
You know, it's a little weird. Like, I'd say...
There's a temperature thing with it. I don't kind of...
Yeah, I don't know what it is with water in a mug. It just psychologically can fuck with you a bit, you know?
He's a guy who you can do a handstand at the drop of a hat, but
I often
get him to drink water out of a mug, he's no good.
What do you reckon the drink that's most dependent on its vehicle is? Ooh. You know? I've thought about this a bit.
I reckon...
I'm going to say what I think it is, or maybe I'll let you go first.
I reckon, and this is just straight off the top of the dome, I reckon the slushy.
Oh, that's a mad. That wasn't even in the options of sort of reasonable drinks, you know. It's a ballpark of like normal drinks.
Yeah, no. Well, it occurred to me because my kids are obsessed with getting a slushy. Like on the weekend, their idea of getting exercise is, Dad, we're gonna walk up to the 7-Eleven.
And so what, you have to have a slushie in a big sort of like movie sort of...
I've never seen it in anything other than that. And it has to have that, it's the dome lid too, so you can build over the top.
I guess so. Out of your normal drinks, like any regular drink, what would you say? I'm going to go with, this is my thing, I reckon it's wine. You know, wine in a big glass feels like... makes it look really... Wine in a plastic cup, you know, it's not good, you know? And it's like... So I reckon that's probably the one that's most dependable on its vehicle.
I had a whiskey the other night at... I was in a place called Daly River doing a corporate corporate. It was a barramundi fishing tournament. It was awesome. But so it's all plastic cup stuff. And I said to the girl, they had like decent scotch behind the counter, and they're like, "Oh, you're an Italian, you don't have to pay for anything." I was like, you know what, getting towards the end of the night, I thought, you know what, I will have a scotch. I said, can I just get a scotch on the rocks? And she gets one of those plastic cups, tumblers that sort of probably about 12 centimeters tall.
Yeah.
Almost fills it with ice and then fills it with scotch. And I was like, wow, this is.
Yeah.
It looked like I took a photo of it, and just because I was astounded. And then I was showing my kids the photos of the I was away because I took a bunch of photos to show them of where it was and stuff. And that one came up, and my youngest goes, "Whoa, there's your beer." And I'm like, nah.
The reason I thought about this was because when I was in Amsterdam, I got this drink, and it's from the shops one night, and it's called Chocomel, and it's Holland's favourite chocolate milk drink, but it comes in a can.
What?
And I thought, I've never had milk in a can before.
Milk in a can's no good.
No, I've had milk in a carton, I've had milk in a bottle, milk in a glass, milk in a bowl.
Yeah.
I've had milk in almost every receptacle, but I've never had it in the can. But I tell you what, pretty good in the can, because the can is cold, and you want it cold for the cold milk. I was a bit thrown, but when I had it, I was like, no, this works. It does work.
Psychologically, if I'm opening a can, I'm expecting like fizz. Yeah.
Yeah.
And there would be no worse taste than effervescent milk.
Yeah. I don't drink soft drink. I don't drink soft drinks, so I'm not expecting the fizz. Yeah.
Mate. What else do you drink out of a can that doesn't have the fizz though?
I guess, yeah, I don't drink can much. I guess nowadays you'd get like coconut water, or you'd get actual water at like a. Oh, this pisses me off. What about this? Have you seen this new water that's been marketed out? It's called Liquid Death, and it's in a can.
It's a sponsor.
It is a sponsor.
No, it's not.
Oh, God.
No, but I've seen it and it looks ridiculous.
Well, because what they've done is they've just marketed water to people, for festival people, so they don't look like they're not drinking booze, so they're drinking this Liquid Death, and it's just fucking absurd, like it's absurd. I don't like it. Yeah,
mate, I'm with you. I feel like the longer like social media and everything's gone on, just the more susceptible we are just to marketing. Just everything seems to be
I think it's called wacky packaging, and like that's what the form of marketing is, like that. Really? Liquid Death. Yeah. You'll see oat milk will do it and shit like that. They'll have like a character on there, and it's like, I'm Odie drinking, Yeah.
That's bizarre. I got to say, I think you're right with wine. Wine is a completely different experience, except
because it's a wank, right? Like a large part of it's a wank. So like it's a psychological, like when I worked in wine sales for a bit, you sell them you tell them the meal that goes with and stuff like this. So you kind of try and conjure up an image for them, and they're like, you tell them, oh, this will go great with some duck. I made this last night with a bit of duck and something like that. And people are like, oh, yeah. Should grab a bottle of that, You're not talking about the wine, So a lot of it is the psychology. So a nice glass is like part of that psychology, I guess,
Yeah, because the only exception to that, because I like a nice like glass from the wine, but I remember going to this little Italian restaurant in Melbourne one time. It was like that, very
that's
traditional.
Nice when they just slam it over to you in a glass.
Yeah, it's just in like a glass tumbler, and you feel like you're on the village square with Nonna.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool. But that's back to that same thing. It's the experience, not the It's all the stuff around it.
And like only they can get away. Like it's the stuff around it. You get that wine in a glass at like a fucking bar or a festival or something like that. You're like, this is shit.
Nah, this is no good.
Yeah.
This is no good. So you're London-based now.
Yes.
How long have you been there? I was thinking about this the other day. It's been a while now, hasn't it?
Yeah, I moved. I went there just like before COVID.
Good timing.
Yeah, was signed with a big comedy agency. They said move here, and they'll put me on a development deal. So I thought, oh fuck, I'll work really hard here. I won't fuck this up. Nothing but a worldwide pandemic can stop me now. And then anyway, so that happened, and then so I've just been sort of back and forth from there. And yeah, man, I don't know. I'm always a bit lost. I mean, I'm not lost. Lost is a bit strong of a word, but you know, we're always searching what to do next when you work in this job and that. So like, and work over there is really good. Lifestyle in Sydney in particular, I really like. You know, I mean, Sydney's a tough city if you come into it and you weren't like you're not from here, I think. But if you're from here and you've figured it out and you've got like connections and you know house or family or whatever, it's a pretty good city. The lifestyle's pretty unique, you know. Like your lifestyle in London is more similar to your lifestyle in Melbourne than it would be to your lifestyle in Sydney, you know. Like it's a grid-like city. People go to sport, people go to movies, people go to art. It's easy to get around the city. Where in Sydney, it's like a lot of that stuff doesn't exist, but you've got great weather, you've got beaches, you've got like, I like, yeah, I think Sydney's pretty unique.
Yeah, I'm sort of in the same boat. Like I think, like one of the things I do love about Sydney, like I always, because growing up we were on like down near Victoria, and I never really thought about.
Where did you grow up?
A place called Corowa.
Coral.
Yeah, it's west of Albury.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
So, but we like, I never mind. Like as a kid, you never really thought about the winters or the summers or whatever. But now, every now and then, like when we're coming through the back end of August in Sydney, when the weather's nice again,
Yeah.
and then you see the weather like map from down there,
Yeah.
and it's still just like those 15-degree days, 16-degree days, and you're like,
yeah.
oh, is pretty much like Sydney. Like when it's really cold, peak winter, you'll get like it might be a 12, like a 14-degree day or a 12-degree day is really bad.
Yeah.
Like it gets cold overnight, but it's still like there's a bit of it. So it's just that end of the tail. But coming with that, I think colder weather or those sort of things makes people more resilient to actually doing stuff.
Yeah,
like
they just get
getting
on with it. Yeah.
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 So how is the scene in London?
It's good, man. I mean, they complain about it, saying it's not as like what it used to be. But I guess stand-up's not like that in general, you know. But everywhere. But man, like in London, there's seven night a week comedy clubs. You know, like seven nights a week. You know, and they're all run for like 3 shows each night, probably something like that. So
there's work.
there's a lot of comics. There's a lot of saturation too. But you can sort of, if you get pushed through that, you can get a bit more work on that. And then and the quality work's pretty good, I guess. And just have a few experiences in that, you know. I've done travelled around Europe, doing a few gigs. Yeah, so it's been pretty good like that. To the Edinburgh Fringe Festival, and yeah, man.
How do you find Edinburgh Fringe? Like,
I despise comedy festivals, so I kind of hate that comedy festival. You know.
That said, come to Ray's Comedy Festival show.
Oh yeah, please.
Tonight.
Yeah. Tonight. I don't despise these next 5 nights. These ones are good. No, I despise them. I actually quite like Sydney, and I don't mind. Like, I don't like the one like Melbourne and Edinburgh. They're just oversaturated, and it's just like your life's going fine, and you go there, and you're like, fuck this, you know.
Yeah.
Like, and then you just hate everything, and so that's why I hate it. But why I like Edinburgh compared to say Melbourne was, I guess, because I'm based in the UK. Edinburgh, and I guess maybe it's due to a culture thing and stand-up, it's a bit more respected over there, but like I've gotten work out of Edinburgh each year. I've gone and done it and stuff like that, and work that I can reflect and look back on and go, yeah, that was pretty good, that was worth it. I got that TV spot, or I got that writing job, or I got that pilot, or something like that.
Yeah.
So, whereas, where I don't feel like you'd sort of get that with Melbourne Comedy Festival. Yeah.
Yeah, probably not as much, unless or it's much rarer. There's probably just less of that work here too, in general. I was down in Melbourne a few weeks ago just doing some gigs during the festival, and had a comic based in the UK, Tom Stade.
Yeah.
Do you know Tom?
Yeah.
Just and he was like, Barney, you gotta get out. He's trying to teach me. You gotta get. They don't love you at home until the neighbors love you. He's just like, oh, okay. But he was just trying to explain how much bigger the world is over, over there, and how much.
Yeah.
So, but it's interesting. So when you went there, like because I remember when you first went there, because you got into yoga in a big bad way. Are you still a yoga?
I'm not as much. I mean, I am, but like, I hurt my back. I hurt my lower back. Went and saw 5 people. Someone said, do yoga. I did that, and I remember taking you to yoga actually once.
Yeah.
I remember this. If this is what you're talking about, me pissing in the shower. In
Actually, I did this. I had Rochford on the podcast, and that did come up.
Oh God.
He mentions
Well, I'd
it more
taken.
regularly than you think.
I'd had like Barocca. I'd had a Barocca, and then we did hot yoga, and then I'm in the shower. They're cubicles. They're cubicles with no bottoms, like no bottoms. And I just thought, like, I'll just pee in the shower, you know. And I know,
Just perfectly, you know.
I know this is up for debate itself, but whatever. I just thought I'll just pee in the shower. But I was so dehydrated and I'd taken these vitamins that I just didn't realise that my piss was just so fluorescent, like more fluorescent than you could ever imagine. Like, you know, and even mixing with the water wasn't doing anything. So I'm trying to like dilute it with my foot, but it's just pushing it under this direction, and it's bright yellow. Like it's like, oh God. So back to the yoga. Bad back. I saw about 5 people, different people, and I've done different forms of exercise in my life, like played different sports and stuff like that. But yoga fixed my back, and it just sort of changed. I did like, and I'm not like super wanky into like spirituality or anything like that. Actually, like I did a science degree, but I just liked it. I liked it as I got introduced into it in a good way. Like I had a good teacher that sort of, he did a bit of everything that wasn't traditional yoga. It was more like a calisthenics class sort of thing with stretching and like some stuff like that. And that sort of, I just saw results. My back was fixed, and I don't know, man. Like, you know, you do this. I don't mean to get too deep on the pod, but you know, like the problem with Western medicine, I think, is like, and I did a degree in medical science. I like it, and I think it's all correct. And I'm not saying that's it, but it's just like that's like very reactive. Like it's like, and especially nowadays, you can't concentrate. You take a tablet. You're overweight. You take a tablet. You're depressed. You take a tablet. You just got to see a doctor and take a tablet, and like they just do something. Whereas like Eastern medicine puts the power back into the individual a bit. It's like you examine your own body, you figure that out, or you like observe your own mind and figure out what's annoying you and upsetting you. So I find that like much, if you're a smart person, like a much better way to like live your life and longer, you know, and financially like better for you, and just better. And like the proof being like I saw 5 people and they'd fix my back, but then it would just go again, and they'd fix my back, and then that made me just realise, like, oh, I'm not activating these sort of muscles here, and that's what's doing that and that. So that just helped me strengthen and stretch out my back. Yeah.
Yeah, it was interesting because when you came back at that stage, because you'd been in London for a bit and you came back and then you were on a stint working with us at Fox Sports, and you were like at that stage all about it. And I remember, and to the
Well, Rochford was quite out of shape, and I think not out of shape, like he was in a slump and whatever, and then I was in shape, and he was in disbelief. I just remember him being like all the time, like, "What are you doing? Like, what are you doing?"
You looked very, because we'd just been hammered with work, and you
Yeah.
looked so healthy and centered.
And maybe he just had a kid or something like that, and he
Yes.
was like, "What are you doing?" And I remember that's when we all went to yoga.
Yeah,
And that's when I pissed on his feet. Yeah.
that was a good time.
Oh,
that was, and to be honest, I've never been so happy not to get first shower. I was just standing, because there was only 2 cubicles. So I'm just standing, sort of listening to this whole thing go down. It was amazing.
Oh, you know, I would have got away with it if I didn't have the vitamins beforehand.
You tried to do
I
the
didn't
right
have a
thing. And have your
Barocca,
Barocca.
yeah.
That's but we right from that stint you did with us right till, and every now and then, like if him and I are working together and like we've been sitting for too long, one of us will say, "Sitting's the new smoking."
Oh, that's right, yeah.
That was your catchphrase in the office.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's because you didn't really have a designated desk.
No, yeah, it's well, sitting is bad for, like, you know, like for your back, you know, it's like 2 of the big factors are your shoes and your sitting in your seat. So yeah.
Oh yeah, that was yeah, that's one of my happy memories of Fox. You peeing on him. That was a good class too. I got to say, I actually, because I'm not someone And it was probably a little bit like you when
That
you
was a
first went
bit.
into it.
That was a bit powerful, that class, and it was a bit like.
We were in
it was
Neutral Bay. It was a bit.
and it was a bit chick like.
Yeah, we were the only
Oedipy.
ones that weren't sort of independently wealthy
Yeah,
young
it
mums.
was a bit sitcom looking over at you and Rochford trying to do his sort of stuff. And like,
So you told us we did well.
well, you did really well because I started the class. I thought this is pretty fucking hard, actually.
Right, it was. Yeah, and I'm not the natural build for that, especially at that stage. I wasn't in great shape, so
Yeah.
it's good time though. It was thoroughly enjoyed that. But so the other thing I want to do, you're one of these people who there's two types of comedians. I think there's people who are funny, just on stage, and then off stage they're quite serious and they're not big jokey people. You are someone who likes to have fun off stage.
Yeah.
So one of my memories of you, one of my early memories of, I think it might have even been the first time I did the Sydney Comedy Festival. I
Yeah.
got invited to one of these launch events with the media.
Yeah.
And it was during the day, it was at the Enmore Theatre, there's like people around and there's a bit of schmoozing and there's people coming around with cakes and slices.
Yeah.
And do you remember this? You
I think
you had like a slice, but you'd put it in your pocket.
I've put it.
You'd just be chatting to people. You'd reach in, you'd take a bite, and you'd put it back in your pocket. And just people didn't know. And it was just sort of for your own amusement. And then eventually, once we knew what you were doing for our amusement, watching you chat to people.
Well, I remember where I got the idea from because I went to, like, I never wear a suit ever, right? I went to a wedding and I had to wear a suit and, like, you know, and I'm thinking, like, and I remember wearing the suit and I was like, man, the suit's not bad. I'm like, you got this inside pockets here. What I should want to use these inside pockets. I'd like to pull something out of these inside pockets. So I thought I'd figure it out. And then so I was like, maybe I'll just put some hot chips in my inside pocket. And then so you'd be sitting on a table talking to someone, you'd be like in this suit looking very dignified, and be like, yeah, go on. And you pull out a hot chip and just put it in your mouth and then be like, what the fuck? And you decide the point is just to try and do it as serious as possible, yeah. Yeah, so go on, how is the family? How is the kids? And you they'll be like, yeah, the kids.
Is that your like? Is that like? Have you always had that sort of a sense of humour? Because you grew up with brothers. You got one or two brothers.
Oh, I got brothers, older brother, younger brother, older sister. But yeah, my dad was really funny. My dad's a really funny guy as well. So yeah, just I guess from that, I guess, you know, my dad, I guess maybe if you want to really dissect it, I reckon it is like, because my great grandfather was an immigrant, and in Wollongong, you know, it's still like, I guess a way of like connecting is like that, you know, they'd try and be funny. That's what they'd try to do. So it's just like my dad was trying to be funny was just a way of life for him. He's a successful, very successful businessman, but like he would just try to be funny all the time. So I guess that was just kind of it. Like, you know, just always try to be funny. Like, I remember like he loved seafood, and he'd get like fresh seafood, and he'd get like crab. And he'd wake me up, and like he'd be like, let's go wake up your brother. He'd put the crabs in my brother's room and stuff like that. My brother would be screaming, and we'd be standing down the front laughing so much.
Let's go wake up your brother.
Yeah.
I like that he needed a partner in crime too.
Yeah.
He's like, who's going to appreciate this?
Well, it's more that my brother would react. Like, you know, it's just one of these people. If you get annoyed or you get scared, it's only going to make him more powerful. You know, makes him more stronger. Yeah. So yeah, but so yeah, I guess that's where that kind of stupidity. Yeah.
So you still get involved in that sort of stuff? Are you still?
Yeah, I guess the older you get, you know, life gets a bit more serious, so you don't get to be as funny all the time. But I guess, yeah, I always try to be as funny as possible, you know.
Did you? Because I'm trying to remember if it's a myth or something you actually did. Did you take out an ad in the paper, One Melbourne?
Yeah, I've done it a couple of times. Yeah.
So, explain that.
Well, one time I wasn't at Melbourne Comedy Festival, so I just took out an ad with a fake show. Cost me $1,000.
$1,000?
But it was still so good, like, you know. Like. And then another time I took out, I got the idea because the first time I bought like, you buy like 2 spaces or something, or you buy a size which was like a quarter of a page or something like that.
Is this in the paper or is this
In one of the magazines like that? So you could, I think your options are something like an eighth of a page, a quarter of a page, or something like that.
Yeah.
So I think I got a quarter of a page, but I sent in the size of my thing was only an eighth of a page, and they were like, "What do you want for the other bit?" And I was like, "It was the last minute." And I was like, "Can you just write that Ray Badran also bought this space as well in there?" And then, so I just wrote that in there as well. And then that was just pretty funny. And then I thought the next year when I wasn't doing it, I'll just buy the whole page.
You spent $1,000 on a full page ad to tell people you weren't coming to Melbourne, or did you have a fake show?
No, it wasn't going to Melbourne. No, just
Just an ad for Ray?
Yeah. My goal, I've always said, is to get the tram ads, without being there,
That's amazing. I love that because nowadays, especially with comedy, like the marketing gets so serious. Like and the bigger venue you're playing, the more. Okay, we need a strategy. Those people have nutting out strategies. You're genuinely trying to confuse your audience as to whether you're going to be there or not.
Oh, in Edinburgh? So I've done Edinburgh twice. Last Edinburgh. No, sorry. Yeah, so I've done Edinburgh twice, the full run. And the second time I did it, my bio was on my thing. It says, "Hi, my name's Ray Badran, a stand-up comedian. For more information, please call." And I just put my phone number in there. And everyone was like, "Man, you're mad. You're going to get this." And I thought, mate, you're mad. Like, you really think like someone wants to stalk you? Like, no one wants to stalk you. I mean, that said, that there is that documentary, there is that show on TV. But
that'll be your
if
show,
anyone wants to find you anyway, anyone can call you. Like, they can just add you on social media and press call, They can call you anyway, and I can block their number if I want anyway. So, but yeah, I did get a lot of calls. I got added to group chats and shit like that. It was pretty funny. But look, it's a good marketing tool.
That is, yeah. You do have a always a very different idea.
Yeah.
So the other one I did. Did you ever do much with it? Because I know for a while your license photos.
Oh, well, I went in there once, and I remember I just was filling out the form to get the new license, and it just said, "Why do you want to get one?" And it's just one of the options is change your look. And I thought, is that an option? Is it like I just change my look? And I thought, well, all right, maybe I'll just remember that. And then I think I lost my license, lost the physical card, and had to go get a new one. And I thought maybe I'll change my look. And I think I'd grown a moustache for some reason at that point. And I thought, and I used a tuxedo for a promo shot for comedy. It was a comedy promo shot. So I thought, I'll get my photo done with this. I'll get my license photo of this. And then I got that. And then when I'm filling it out, and I just thought maybe I'll just come back in next week with a different look and get it, because I'll just change my look. Like, it's getting into pretty grey area and pretty murky territory, especially nowadays, if they want to go into the discretion on why I can change, why not, exactly. I can change my look, like what reasons are acceptable and what reasons aren't. And yeah, so I did like 3 of them in a month. And my objective was to get 9 done, but then I think I'd moved overseas by then, yeah.
So you haven't tried with the passport?
No, I haven't tried with the passport. That probably caused me a bit of trouble.
I love the hijinks sort of stuff. So because what I like about that sort of stuff too, like if anyone sees your phone number and go, who's the kind of person that would write, like, for more information, call, that if they think that's funny, they'll go along to your show, and that's exactly the sense of humour too they're getting. When did you start?
That's like, when comedians post a thing, they're like, link in bio, like, and they have to show where the link is. I'm like, man, if you can't find out the link, don't come to the show, Just can't come. If you can't find the link, you probably can't get there, You probably can't figure out how to get there.
Man, the amount of times, in fact, I've posted clips for this with, listen to the full episode, link in bio, and now I'm going to feel like an idiot doing that.
No, everyone does it, and I've done it before too. But I just realised, like, if you can't find the fucking link, like, you know,
Yeah.
it's more confusing saying link in bio than just leaving it up to them. But yeah, the thing about the license photo is too, people think they see the license photo and they think that's funny. But they don't realise that I had to sit in the RTA or the road services place for like half an hour in a tuxedo with a moustache.
And you've done that 3 times.
Yeah.
Did the people, was it all the same?
One time I bumped into someone I knew too, and it was like, I think I said I had to do it for something. I told them it was like, it was for a show or something like that.
Did the staff recognise you after a while?
No, apparently it's actually like, well, this is what one of the staff said to me. He goes, women do this all the time because they just don't like the look of their photo. That's what he said to me. So it's actually a thing that you can do. I mean, I guess wildly changing your look like I was is not okay. But yeah.
One time having a mustache, next time not.
Yeah.
That's yeah. So when you started, did you start at the, like, the rumour I heard was you started because you were the barman at the Laugh Garage? Is that?
Oh, it's not how I start. I became the barman because I was starting, like, you know, so I was doing a science degree at uni, and like, it's quite a tough degree and it leads to like close to nothing. And so like, you're quite disillusioned after, like, you know, whilst you're doing it, towards the end. And then I was like, just trying to figure out what I wanted to do, looking through different things. And then yeah, stumbled across comedy. I didn't really realise, I loved comedy always, but I didn't realise it was like a learned skill. Like I didn't really know what it was. I thought Americans did it and stuff like actors and stuff like that did it. And then so I saw it and then I was like, this is so dumb, this. I heard, because I used to think this was the dumbest thing in the world, but then I heard Larry David did the same thing with his first gig, so I don't feel as bad. But I was like, and I was kind of a funny kid at school and in my class and this and that, and I found out about stand-up comedy and I got really into it. I'm watching heaps on YouTube, watching all this like Australian comedy, which I hadn't really been exposed to before, coming from Wollongong. There wasn't any comedy nights back then in Wollongong, like a regular one. And then I found out about this like comedy competitions and stuff like that. And there was a comedy club in Parramatta called the Laugh Garage that had a gong show. And like, if you beat the gong or whatever, you got a spot in the main show or something like that. And I thought, like, well, I'm so funny, I'm just going to go do this. So I signed up for that. And I sign up for it and like, don't tell anyone. And I drive up from Wollongong one night by myself. Don't tell anyone. I think maybe I told my mum. I didn't tell anyone though. And then I went up there and then I'm there on the night and I'm backstage and I'm seeing the other comics and they're all going through their notes and stuff. And I'm like, oh, you've got to write material. What? I didn't even think about it. I was so excited about it all. I was so like, I just thought I'm funny. Like, I'll just go out there, I'm funny. And then I just get there and I'm like,
did you have any plan of what you were going to say?
None whatsoever. I actually am in disbelief that I had no plan. I was so deluded. Like, and then so I'm scrambling and I do remember like what I did and what I said and I tried to write something quickly and it was so bad. And then like,
What was your opening joke? What was your first ever Badran?
My opening joke was also my closing joke and also my only joke. I wrote one thing and I said, and it's literally me trying to write, and I was thinking they say, write what you know. And then I said, so maybe I'll write about wanking. That's what I'd written down. And then so I went up there and I said, yeah, so they say you write what you know. So, maybe I'll write about wanking, and it's just like all silent. And then, I remember it so clear. I go to this guy, what's your name? And he goes, well, what do you do? Or say like that. No, I said, what do you do? And he goes, you don't want to know, like that. And I'm so nervous that I'm sort of like aggressive. And I said, well, I'm asking you, so I do want to know, like that. And it's just like gonged off, and I just walk off, and I drive an hour and a half back to Wollongong, and I'm like, oh my God, I'm never telling anyone about that. And then it took me about 3 months to like build up the courage again to do it. And I think around that time in my life, I jumped into a few things, like, oh, maybe I'll play this musical instrument, maybe I'll do this, maybe I'll do that, maybe I'll go study something at uni, maybe that. But comedy kind of stuck. It's one of the only things that stuck. And yoga, I guess, one of two things that I liked that I continued for a long period of time. And then and I went back and then I researched how to do it. I learned how to do it and I wrote a set and I watched heaps and stuff like that. And I remember my first few sets were because I didn't know how to write whatsoever, and I don't have any art people in my family, they're all mathematicians, and I did a science degree. So it was a bit of a scientific approach, where I had all these funny topics and jokes and this or ideas, and then I would take the structure of bigger comedians and their stuff, and I'd put my topics into that structure like that, and then.
Which is from as a contrast to your first gig of just going, it never occurred to you to write to go that far scientific with it. It's interesting.
Well, I guess that's how musicians write, I think, and then they develop their own style after a while. They're very influenced by that, and then they write their own style. So then
I think a lot of comics probably aren't as conscious that that's what they're doing. But that's a good way to learn. You go, okay, because there are rules. There are rules in terms of what works or structure. There's structure things that an audience can follow. So if you can learn how it all works first, apply your own thing, and then start messing around with. I remember years ago, there was a room booker said something to me about some open micer come in doing a bit of anti-comedy or whatever. And he just comes in and he goes, I hate this. These people that want to deconstruct comedy before they've learned how to construct it.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh yeah. I suppose there is something to learning the tricks if you want to
learning the
undermine
rules
the
before you break them.
Yeah.
But yeah, then so I couldn't get any gigs anywhere but that gong show each Saturday night. So I'd drive up and I'd do that. And there was one guy that was on it that would just kill every time. His name's Oliver Pomervan.
I remember Oliver, yeah.
And he would just kill every night. And I think Eric Hutton would do it a bit. Shane Matheson would do it sometimes. These guys were kind of around before I started. They were around in that. And then there were random people doing it all the time. And then, so I did that three. And by the third one or second or third one, it started going pretty well. And then so I invited some friends, and then I had a horrible one the night they all came. But I knew I wanted to keep doing it, and I was driving an hour and a half up to Parramatta every Saturday for a 5 minute free, for a 1 minute free spot or 2 minute spot. And I had a job behind the bar, and I said, how much is that? And he goes, I get paid cash, and if you work. I said, yeah, sweet. So I'd just come up and work on Saturday, and if I can do the gong show after, yeah, no worries. So I'd come in on a Saturday, work, and then watch the show, and then do a spot of the gong show afterwards. So pretty good.
Yeah.
Pretty good way to start.
Especially when you're that age and you're that's what you want to do. You may as well find a way to get paid and watch.
Yeah, it was a great lesson into it, yeah. So that was it. So yeah,
who do you remember?
Someone else has said that before. I started as the bartender, but no, I guess that's probably where most people met me though, because I was there and then that. Yeah, but yeah.
Who do you remember from then that sort of imprinted on you? You went, oh, that's I'd like to learn how to do that or learn how to crush like that. Or is there anyone you remember that stood out that sort of maybe influenced you or didn't influence you? Or
I loved comedy so much, so everyone influenced me. I loved everyone, and then the longer I did it, you sort of start to know people personally and dislike them like that and this and that. So I guess I thought Gary Hu was really good. Gary Hu, just old school guy that was just from the original sort of Comedy Store days. But you could just see the sort of stagecraft and the how, and I didn't really realise Australian comedy existed and stuff like that. And so I thought he was really good, and I saw him have some fantastic gigs riffing and stuff like that. I mean, you know, it's a comedy club like that's like there every night, so you just see like over time some cool stuff happen and stuff like that, and some cool sets. I like this guy that like doesn't do it anymore, and I think he had a sort of bad decline out of comedy, but like he was known was Mark My Words,
Oh yeah.
and he used to do a bit of writing and stuff like that, and I just like he had some really funny bits and stuff like that that were done that made me laugh a lot. And because I did a science degree and I came from Wollongong and no arts in the family, I didn't think I could act, but I thought I could write, like I maybe could write. So like that writing style kind of influenced me a little bit more, I guess. So those guys, I mean, and then I mean everyone really. Like there was Fred Lang from Queensland. He was really good back then. Tommy Dean, yeah. Um, they were some of the best ones back then. Yeah, I think.
It's funny when you see like your impressions of comedians when you first start too, like how impossible seeing what Tommy Dean does looks to when you're brand new as well. Like it
Yeah.
still looks impossible in some ways. Like he's like I gig with him semi regularly, and he's still got that just ability to synthesize a joke so quickly.
Yeah,
Like
yeah,
from
yeah,
something that happened in the room. Like him and Peter Burner's the other one
yeah,
that I find
yeah,
like that.
yeah.
But yeah, because I remember watching you when I started, because you'd been going a little while when I started. Guys like you, Dave Jory, all those sort of
Majority of that were like before they were kind of like the new generation when I was starting. So like they were like, yeah, just below Tommy Dean and all that when I was starting. And yeah, so I'd sort of look up to them a bit. But yeah, sorry, go on.
yeah. No, I just remember, and I remember because we'd go to the Mike in Hand regularly, and so I remember you, Towns, and Jory were three of the ones I remembered from then, and just but it was that same thing of like, oh, who are these? And then, you know, like a few years in, you're like working with people and knowing, and you're like, oh, they're dickheads.
Yeah.
No, but
Yeah, when I was starting, it was like there was those guys and Towns, Daniel Towns and Nick's son. And the poster still at the Comedy Store. It's like, is this the next generation of Australian comedy or something like the next big thing in Australian comedy? So yeah, it's strange.
Good. So you'd mentioned the acting. You've done a bit of acting now. How do you find that? Because
I mean,
are you allowed
like,
to talk about what you flew back to the UK for or not?
technically no, I don't think so.
Okay.
The thing, but yeah.
But you do a bit of acting.
Well, I've done a bit. Like, yeah, I just got an acting job. I mean, I always kind of hated it creatively. I thought, like, why would you want to be an actor? Like, what the hell is that? Like, you know, it's just talking fucking billboards. Like, why would you want to be an actor? And like the self-importance they place on it, you know, you're just like, come on, man. Like, but as a comedian, if you're not chasing it, you get it as a side gig. It's pretty sweet. Yeah, it's pretty good. Like, and his side gig when you're a stand-up, like, sort of makes you appreciate stand-up more and takes the pressure off it and stuff like that. So, yeah, I enjoyed it. And it was in a cool show. Like, it was in a comedy show, and like I was playing a quirky character.
Yeah.
So like, that was kind of fun, you know. Like so. So yeah, I guess especially that last role that I got, I really enjoyed it, and I would like to do more. I'd never like to be a lead character. I tried to make my own thing for Comedy Central once. I made my own web series.
Is that the one with Guy?
Yeah.
Yeah, that was fantastic.
Oh, thanks, man. That was all right. And then I almost got that into it. Like, almost got a pilot with the ABC from that, but yeah, I was playing the lead in that and I wrote it, and it's just like, it's too much, you know? Like, I'd rather just come in and play a quirky character and get a professional to act in the main part and stuff like that. And you're watching it later and you're like, oh,
You are the
I don't
Larry
like
David.
that. I don't like that. You know? Yeah. But like, if you just play a side character, take the pressure off you. You can be funny and yeah.
That'd be hard too if you're like someone who's written it and then you're obviously involved in like the editing choices and all that sort of stuff. When you're the main person you're watching different takes of you, like that must.
Well, I reckon the hardest part about writing it and producing it and doing all that, and then, because if you're just acting in it, you just got the script, you're sitting at home, even if you're not working on it, you've read it, You just marinate in your brain a bit, you know, and you'll come up with a little idea every now and then or whatever, walking around the house, whatever. And then when it comes to shooting it, you're there and you're ready and you're feeling, well, you know, you're never ready, but you're feeling great and you're like reading and you try. But when you're writing and you're producing it, it's like, have you ever done a show, like a stand-up show with like tech or anything like that and stuff like this or anything or no?
Nah, man.
Oh, that's good. But yeah, if you ever do that.
Was that a test?
No, well, it's more like if you ever do that, you're fucking running around before the show and you're worried about sound and you're worried about this and then the show starts and you're like, you're not in, you know, whereas like, it's good just to be a bit by yourself and just a bit nervous, like thinking about it, whatever. Like even if you're not thinking about it, it's just good to just have
less
in your mind,
less things to have to organise that could go wrong.
Yeah.
That's the closest I've ever had to that. Was I actually had a one sound cue in this last show I just did at Sydney Comedy Festival.
Yeah.
And it was only because my son, my oldest son, wrote me a walk-on song and recorded it and everything. So my walk-on music, he'd done because he's mad for his guitar and stuff. And I was going into talking about him and his brother and like had a few jokes about them. And then off the back of this other stuff, I was talking about how I love child labour. And so I used that it just occurred to me the day before. I'm like, oh yeah, I've got another example of good child labour, you know. So I got the sound guy to play that again, and even then, like I said to him, you know, just from wherever it stops when I walk on, just play it from there because it had a ramp up. Both nights he did it wrong, but so that was driving me nuts. But it was still.
I got a bit of tech in this show, this like one little bit, and it's not. I'm giving it away, but if you come see it, like I don't know what's going to happen. So like, but like I got this bit about how I got addicted to Uber Eats, and I'm just like ordering Uber Eats all the time, and got a bit on Uber Eats and stuff like that, but I thought it'd be funny if I ordered Uber Eats to the show each night. So I was thinking I want a beer halfway through anyway, you know? So I'm figuring out I've got it all together, so I'm just going to press like order before the show. and I've got to tip the guy, and I've got the delivery instructions in there, like come down, I've got the staff to jam up to come into the room to make sure he comes into the room. And then I've got that song that Snoop Dogg did as he's walking you, just going to come. So I've got that coming up, but yeah.
Oh my God.
And because I'm ordering a beer, right, the guy will require my date of birth to like complete the order. So like I can just keep him in the show as long as I want. So I'll say that might be out of the show on Thursday, but yeah.
That's amazing.
Definitely going to happen on Wednesday.
This is what I like about your stuff too, is you always have the most different ideas. Like stuff where there's stuff where, did you hear what Ray did? Like,
oh, that's nice.
Your
That's
bit you were doing, we did a gala together and you were doing this whole setup, and I've seen you do it a few times about how you do the setup one night for the show.
Yeah.
And the punchlines from the show the night before to get people coming back.
Yeah.
Just those sort of high concept things. And you make that work somehow, because on paper that shouldn't work.
Yeah. I don't know. Sometimes, yeah. I don't know, man. Thanks, man. I don't know.
I
think you're giving me too much credit there, but yeah, I appreciate it. Yeah, thanks.
That's yeah. I had another. There was something else you did that I was trying to think. Oh, so another story that's gone around. Is this the escalating drinks at the Comedy Store?
Oh man, that got banned. That was awesome. That idea. That was good. Well, because like, I guess it comes from, if I'm to take any credit for like the compliments you're giving me, it comes from like this Deliveroo bit as well. Fucking being underprepared and then trying to work really hard just before. So like I'm like, I don't have a show, so I've got to come up with as much fucking ideas as I can, and like, you know, I've got to, you know, I appreciate how long it takes to hone material and stuff like that. So I'm like, what's some other things I could do there? And I guess I got thrusted into emceeing the store early. I guess we're never prepared for when we, you know, you learn a bit there. And I was like, what else can I do that's funny? What can I do? And I tried a few things, but one of them was like, wouldn't it be funny if I go out? I thought maybe at first, wouldn't it be funny if I just wore a different shirt each time? And I just slowly changed the colour of my shirt. No one would know. Like just bought like all the colours of the rainbow, but all the colours just like slowly. So people would just be going, am I going mad? Or is that shirt slowly getting darker? And then but then it's only, I just thought I'd just change the drink each night, and that was it. And then so the drinks would change from being like like a shot of vodka to like a beer to like a big pint to like a cocktail with like pineapple coming out of it, then back to like a glass of wine, then like a glass of whiskey, and then the final one, because they'd catch on by about the fifth one, and then start laughing. You'd notice them laughing, and then like I'd come out with a bottle of whiskey, but then I think they told me to stop doing it when Cam Knight, it was just this wild night there, and I'd done that, and he was on the backstage mic, and he started chanting skull, 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 and he gets the whole audience, and they're like, skull, skull, skull.
Oh, no.
And I'm like, I'm not sculling. It's a fucking bottle of Jim Beam. It's like a full bottle. I'm not sculling this. It's impossible anyway.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh, guys.
Have you seen how many drinks I've had already?
And I said, look, that's your headliner, guys. Let's get him to skull it. Ladies and gentlemen, keep going. Skull. Welcome to stage, Cam Knight. They're chanting skull as he's coming out.
Oh, no.
And he's already said it to me, so he's kind of put himself in it, you know. And he gets it, and he gets it, and he does skull about a third of the bottle, maybe.
Jesus.
A third or a quarter, like it's a large part of the bottle goes. And he sort of heaves over, and he's like, whew, and he gets up, and he starts, and you can see, like, within a minute, like, him slowly getting more drunk. In, like, a minute, like, as the body absorbs it. In a minute or two, he starts to... And then about 5 minutes in, or 6 minutes in, he goes back to the bottle and just takes a swig and puts it back down. And he was so pissed. They were like, no more.
This doesn't work, right? Oh, mate, that's I love all those. There's a few Ray stories that kick around Sydney.
That's nice
still,
to
mate.
hear. That's really nice to hear. Yeah.
Mate, I do need to let you go though, because you got to get over to another gig.
Yes,
before you go, plug everything you want to plug. So obviously
thanks,
the comedy festival shows, plug your socials and where people can find you around London.
Yeah, I've got a website, Instagram.
Instagram's at Ray Badran.
Yeah, at Ray Badran, and I've got.
And I love your name is just Ray in brackets, new and improved.
Oh, new and improved. Yeah.
What's the story behind that?
Oh, I went to a yoga retreat from, and people like, did it change it? I said, check out my Instagram profile. In the website, Instagram, but yeah, I'm doing Sydney Comedy Festival this week, Wednesday to Sunday. I'm doing a show in Perth on, I think it's the 18th of May, maybe. It's either the 15th, 16th. No, it might be the 17th of May, sorry. It's around then. 15th, 16th or 17th of May.
Link in bio.
And yeah, link in bio. And in the off chance, if anyone's listening from Edinburgh, going to Edinburgh, I'm doing the Edinburgh Fringe Festival for a month, and at the Pleasance. And we're always doing shows in London.
You regularly host at the Moth Club?
Yeah. So
nice.
Do that every Thursday.
Yeah, beautiful. Get along and see Ray wherever you get the chance. Mate, thanks so much for doing that. That was awesome.
Thank you, mate. Thanks for having me.
No worries.